there are some dark subjects that we talk about on the show occasionally, but I've rarely been as upset as I am tonight.
Late night hosts are reacting to the Capitol Hill attack from a pro-Trump mob in an attempt to thwart a peaceful transfer of power to incoming President-elect Joe Biden. The chaos ensued on Wednesday evening when the rioters in massive numbers breached the building and entered the Senate floor. The situation, deemed unsafe, violent, and illegal, resulted in National Guard members being called up to support law enforcement at the scene and 4 deaths. On The Late Show, host Stephen Colbert's monologue lacked its usual polish, as he said today's shameful events have left him shaken.
Because today, the U.S. Capitol was overrun for the first time since 1814, and a woman died.
Colbert spent time calling out Republicans such as Ted Cruz, as well as Fox News, for enabling Trump for so many years.
You think maybe years of peddling his conspiracy theories had anything to do with this?
Over on Jimmy Kimmel Live, the host deemed Wednesday's events as a terrible day in the history of this country.
Thank you for joining us for the treason finale of the Donald Trump era.
Kimmel also added that the worst part is that the rioters were doing all of this for someone that ultimately doesn't care about them.
He doesn't care about you. He doesn't care about your life or your wife or your job or your health care or the air you breathe or the water you drink. He cares about himself.
The host also took aim at Ted Cruz for enabling violence and asserting that Cruz doesn't actually believe the election was rigged.
He's so desperate to be liked and supported by these nuts who think Joe Biden is a Chinese agent and Satan is trying to force them to wear masks to the mall so that one day he could be president.
On Late Night, Seth Meyers said consequences are needed for those responsible for the violent insurgency that took place, namely Trump himself, along with his supporters such as Ted Cruz, Rudy Giuliani, and Josh Hawley.
The only way our democracy will survive this harrowing moment is if he is immediately removed from office by either the cabinet or the Congress and prosecuted.
On a positive note, Meyers also took the time to praise the results of the Georgia runoffs earlier that morning. Over on The Tonight Show, Jimmy Fallon addressed the Capitol riots by recounting how his late grandfather, a veteran, would be disgusted by the violence that unfolded on Wednesday were he alive today.
People walking around with the flag upside down, thinking they're patriotic. Today was not patriotism. Today was terrorism.
Even as he condemned the actions of the rioters, Fallon finished on an optimistic note.
I assure you, there are more good people than there are bad, and good will prevail.
Meanwhile, James Corden provided a hopeful message for his audience from an outsider's perspective.
As an outsider, growing up in England, I used to look to America as this beacon of light and possibility.
Corden encouraged viewers to make no mistake that people around the world know that the America they admire still exists.
That they know that the America that they admire still exists. They know that the America that so many aspire to will be back. It's just been hijacked by a lunatic.
As the events unfolded, Hollywood figures such as Sacha Baron Cohen and many others took to social media to react to the news, with some calling for Twitter to shut down Trump's official account, which has been filled with claims of election fraud since the presidential election in November. Trump, who earlier in the day had egged on the protesters, eventually posted a video message to his Twitter account urging people to, quote, go home. He still referred to the election, however, as fraudulent. For more on the story, head to THR.com. For The Hollywood Reporter News, I'm Neha Joy.